there's something Moraine does in this episode, and I thought, what? Alright, welcome back to the channel. Welcome if you're here for the first time, and I guess you are here for the first time because this is my first video in English. Let me just tell something to my German audience. Also, ich werde nicht immer Videos jetzt auf Englisch machen, auf gar keinen Fall, natürlich nicht. Ich werde weiter für euch auf Deutsch da sein, aber ich werde auch ein paar Videos auf Englisch machen, weil ich einfach ein größeres Publikum erreichen möchte und weil es mir Spaß macht, in der englischsprachigen Community ebenfalls ein bisschen mitzumischen. Okay, let's talk about episode 6 of The Wheel of Time. I just watched it and this is kind of my raw reaction to it and maybe a first impression review, not really refined. I have to think a little bit more about it, maybe sleep over it. It's just very fresh to me right now, so I just put out my thoughts and well, hope for some nice discussion in the comments below. I really enjoyed this episode. I wasn't blown away by it as I was hoping for, since Brandon Sanderson really was pushing my expectations to, well, unreachable levels, I guess. He was talking about a 10 out of 10 episode for him, and I guess maybe from his perspective as an author, it was a very, very good episode. Maybe the best, because there was a lot of stuff happening without a lot of stuff happening. It was mostly talking, so a lot of really good dialogue and a lot of good acting as well, but not just a lot of action. There was just one maybe action scene when Moraine had to intervene and well, use the one power to not get attacked by Matt's dagger, and then there was Lan putting the sheep herder in his place. That was awesome. And besides that, there was just a lot of politics and talking and a lot of plot development as well, but it was not very much action. It was a lot of talking. I can deal with that because it was cool. And there are two minds or two hearts in myself just competing against each other right now. There's the book reader, then there's the one piece of me who likes and enjoys the show for what it is. But it's really hard to, yeah, well, to separate those two halves of myself. It feels very schizophrenic. It's really weird because I see all those reactions to the show from non-book readers, and they are so pure and they are so much able to enjoy a lot of stuff, which leaves me scratching my head, and it's really weird. And it's the same with this episode, I guess, because there are a lot of changes from the book, or from the books, I'd say. And some of those changes really do concern me. No, that they don't. They don't concern me. They left me concerned, especially with regards to the overall coherence and consistency of the magic system. That's my biggest worry here, but let's talk about that in a few moments. So first of all, we start with a cold opening and we see Swan and her father in Tyr, and I immediately recognize it. That was really well done and was beautifully shot, and was also a showcase of great acting. We only had those two actors, father and daughter, and they really did a great job of showing us their relationship and their situation in their life, and why they're concerned about Swan and their channeling, and then we see the immediate consequences maybe of that, not of that what happens in that scene, but maybe of something that had happened off screen before, and we see the home burned down, and we see the dragon's fangs scribbled on the door or part of a wall, I don't know, and not scribbled but painted. It was really, really huge, and I was just missing an explanation, so maybe a line of dialogue that explained to the viewers, especially the non-book readers, what that means, so that they're kind of accused of being dog friends. The book readers, we know all that stuff, but it was missing here. I guess it's another instance of the show first and explain later philosophy of this show. So far it has worked, And I hope they don't forget these moments, which are just shown and only make sense to book readers, but don't really make sense to anyone who is not familiar with this world. So I hope they have good notes and keep track of all that stuff. So, but I really liked that opening. It was great. It provided more depth to the character of Swan, and it was really good casting. Not only because of the looks, it was really convincing that this was indeed young Swan. When you think about the actress who's playing her now when she's an adult, but it was also very well acted. A lot of emotion. And it was great. I really liked it, and I liked the setting. I guess we had a glimpse of the Stone of Tyr in the background. I'm not sure, or of the bigger city in the background, but it shows that she rose from being a poor fisherman's daughter to the most powerful woman in this world, and it's really nice character building just with this little scene establishing a lot about Swan Sanchi. Well, then we move on to Tavalon, and it's kind of just a continuation of episode 5. So episode 5 felt much like an interlude episode, like a lot of build-up and maybe kind of establishing lore and all about that water bond and kind of tower politics and so forth. And we get more of that in this episode. There's a lot of nice banter between Liandrin and Moraine, and Liandrin is also very nicely portrayed here by, what was the name again? Kate Fleetwood. She's so good as Liandrin, so much better than that cartoonish version in the books. I just really hope they're not planning to combine her with Elida, because all that stuff, that being so antagonistic to Moraine and kind of being a conduit for all that, don't know, upheaval within the tower, it makes her seem like an Elida type. I hope they don't go along this road. I would really hate to lose the character of Elida. She's so important, and maybe Kate Fleetwood would have the potential to pull that off, being that great as an antagonist to a certain someone out of our main cast, but I really hope we get Elida. Okay, so much for that. Then we have great scenes in the hall, in the Great Hall of the Aes Sedai, and I really like it. I like the circular design of it. There's so much in this series which uses circles to visualize that theme of the Wheel of Time, the circularity of everything. It's really nicely done. It's very cinematic. And yeah, I like that. I imagine it a little bit bigger and more, don't know, just more. But it's okay. For a TV budget, this is quite amazing. It's really good. Sometimes I guess I get what people are complaining about. It seems too clean, too bright, too clear of an image, and maybe not too much lived in, so kind of artificial. I had that feeling when I watched Star Wars Episode 1 for the first time, and every time I watch it, basically I have that feeling that it is too clean and too, yeah, it seems kind of artificial and not being lived in. But in Tavalon, it makes sense. I think, I mean, this is the main capital of magic. We have Aes Sedai, and they're using the one power to be basically able to clean their clothes and everything around them, and they have wards against rats and everything else, so it's a very clean city. So as long as we maybe further along in the show get other cities like Faldara or Tyr or don't know, Falmer, and it is more kind of grimy and gritty, I would really appreciate that. That's another thing about the costumes. The costumes are so great, and you see that in this episode as well, but they are so well lit, and they are so colorful, and they are so pristine. Most of the time you think about, have they just been to the dry cleaners? It's just, sometimes it might take you out of the illusion. The suspension of disbelief might get shadowed for some of you. I myself have kind of, don't know, forced myself to accept that it's kind of the visual style of this show, and that this maybe wants to portray that this world is, well, now still intact. Everything is fine so far. Maybe as soon as the Dark One gets more hold of this world, we will see a steady decline, and will get more dirty and grimy and dark and gritty, maybe. I don't want it to look like Game of Thrones, but sometimes I wish it would, stylistically and with regards to cinematography, would be more the kind of bridge between Lord of the Rings and Game of Thrones, as it is supposed to be thematically. So that it not only feels like being in between those two big genre IPs, I guess. So we have Game of Thrones, and then we have Lord of the Rings, and I think Wheel of Time is supposed to be somewhere in the middle between modern fantasy and classic fantasy. So it feels like that with regards to plots, to characters and all that, and world building, but it should also feel like that while you're looking at it. I wish they would try to get there more. I hope they do that in season 2, or maybe hopefully in season 3. I guess they will have a lot of time to sift through our reviews and critique and so forth, and I guess they will pick up something along the way. I hope. Because there's so much potential. Don't waste it on some don't know, cheap looking images which are not cheap. They're just looking cheap sometimes, because it would be so easy to not shatter the suspension of disbelief by just having some dirt here and there. I don't know, or some spider webs or whatever. I don't know, something that makes this world a little bit more being lived in, so that it's not just as if it has been just built a few days ago. That's something which still bothers me a little bit, but it's not something which decides over the quality of the show. It's a really good show. There's so much good acting, and the scripts are really well done. I really like this one. There are so many great scenes. For instance, that scene where Moraine was talking about, she's meeting Egwene and Perrin in Tavalon. She finds them, and then she sees what has been done to Perrin, and he's resting, he's sleeping. We don't see the wounds on his back, but we can imagine that it is gruesome and that it's looking awful, and she reacts that way, and she says, okay, once that is healed, there will be nothing left. He will be as good as new. And Egwene replies, well, yeah, on the outside, but it's really cool. It shows Egwene is very considerate, and she's just not taking everything for what it is as it is given to her. She's really smart, and she's saying what she's thinking, and I like that about her. And I guess Madeline does a very good job of portraying Egwene. I really like that. And once again, we have Nynaeve being very sassy, and in that scene where she's shown to Swan Sanchi, and there she is with Egwene, and she gets that line, now that you have blown smoke up our asses. I was just laughing so much. It was so good, and she was put to her place by Swan without being don't know, hold with strings of the one power. It was just Swan's presence. Sophie Okonado, I don't know if I'm butchering her name right now. You know what I mean. Sophie really does a great job of portraying Swan, and she has so much regal presence and gravitas. She's really owning every scene in which she is. She's really commanding. She has that presence. She is the Amelin Seed. I really love that. So there's so much to love in this episode, but if you are expecting something of that grand emotion and action like we had in episode 4, you're gonna be disappointed. And that's the problem all along with this show, our expectations. By now, I really don't know what's gonna happen, and I love that. At the end, we see Matt being left outside of the ways, and Moraine maybe could have reopened that. It seems like they have changed that. You need the power to open a gateway, and maybe if it once opened, it takes maybe so much power to open it that Moraine just cannot do it once again. She has to recover maybe before that. And I don't know why he was left outside, or why he decided to stay behind. I guess it may be something they've decided on, maybe just in the moment of it, because there was something about Barney Harris. We don't know why he has left the show and why he needed to be recast. But well, it is what it is. And I don't know if we were gonna be seeing now the new Matt for episodes 7 and 8, or if this is just has nothing to do with this recasting, but it's just another plot twist to, well, create some excitement. And I don't know what they are doing. But I once again was sitting there and hating it that I had to wait another week for the next episode. And that is something that the show is really doing so good. Us leaving us wanting more. That's it. You cannot argue about that. That's something that the show accomplishes. It leaves us wanting more. And that's good so far, but on the other hand, I still feel like those first 6 episodes are kind of a very long prologue. Everything is set up. There's a lot of world building, and we had some very good action in episode 4, and in between, maybe in episode 2 and 3. But those shifting focuses, we have a lot of focus on Moraine, and that's great, especially for new viewers, because Rosamund Pike does such a great job of portraying Moraine, and she has so much more depth and emotion than book Moraine, and I really like that. Same goes for Lan. But I was being left behind after watching this episode with a feeling of, I want more of the Emmonsfield 5, and I want more of Perrin. Especially because he, of all the main characters, has not much character so far. He has trauma. He has all those consequences of all the horrible stuff that has happened to him. But there's not much apart from now him having told Egwene, and that those two have now a special bond because they share that secret. But that's it, basically. Matt is kind of being back to normal, and he's quite funny once again, and is it too late to change my mind, and so forth. That was a great line. But yeah, Loyal, only a couple of lines, wished we had more, but it was nice to see Lan being kind of annoyed of him. It was kind of implying that they had a talk before, and that Loyal once again wasn't able to just shut up. It was just going on and on and on, rambling, and Lan was really being annoyed and quite. It was hard for him to remain kind of nice to him. It was a great scene. I love that. Great moments. I don't know if they work as well if you haven't read the books, and sometimes it's really hard for me to judge those episodes on their own, because there's always this part of me comparing it to what I've read and what I was hoping for. And there's so much, especially now, I was talking about that beforehand with regards to the magic system. There's something Moraine does in this episode, and I thought, what? What the hell is she doing? I'm gonna use that word now. This might be regarded as a spoiler, but I'm not gonna explain what it is. But I'm just giving a name to what she was apparently doing. I was thinking, did she just travel? There's something supposed to be lost to Aes Sedai of the Third Age. So the other thing I was considering was, okay, was this kind of a fake wall, and she could, kind of an illusion? And she used the one power to just, switch rooms. No, not switch rooms, but to just walk through the wall, which wasn't a wall, but it was an illusion. But then on the other hand, you heard those ambient noises, which suggested that she was in Tyr, that she was somewhere outside the tower, with nature all around. And then we have those walls, and it looks like, don't know, Swan Sanchi's retreat, private hut in Tyr. That was how I took that, and if that was the case, Moraine did something here which we wasn't supposed to be able to do. And it takes away something of the awe and wonder when some of the other characters not invent, but when they find out about this, what you can do with the one power, so much more than what the Aes Sedai are supposed to know. The Aes Sedai are supposed to be the most powerful channelers, and then they know everything about this world, and alright, but we will see that being challenged throughout the books, without telling you anything more about that at this point. And well, some of the future discoveries are being forfeited now, so if that's the right word, they are being, we cannot do that anymore now, because apparently Moraine does know how to travel. Maybe that has been considered a necessary change to do some of the stuff which happens at the Eye of the World. Maybe they have to take so many shortcuts, I guess, to get everything in. It's hard for me to come to terms with all those changes. It's very hard. But on the other side, the character moments and the emotions those very good actors and actresses convey really, really convince me of this show's quality and its potential. But on the other hand, we always think about the potential of the show because we know all those great things that will happen, and now I'm getting doubts that I'm fearing that I'm not gonna be able to see and share some of those great moments I'm hoping for, especially some of those magic related aspects of the Wheel of Time. They are changing stuff, and we will see. The other part which was kind of irritating to me was that Swan apparently dreamt of the Eye of the World, and that she dreamt of the Dark One, which to new viewers, I guess, and non-book readers, which is basically the same, would be Ba'alzamon, which now we didn't have that name so far. It's not a spoiler, it's just another name. We had one name, which I'm not going to be repeating because I don't want to spoil anything, but we had that name already in the show. So there is the Dark One. Ba'alzamon is just another word, just another name for the Dark One. It means Heart of Darkness, I guess, if I remember correctly. So we see that figure in the dreams, especially in Rand's dreams and Perrin's and Matt's, I guess. That guy with the fiery eyes, you remember that. And maybe Swan had such a dream as well. And well, there are certain individuals or entities in the world of the Wheel of Time who are able to infiltrate dreams. Let me put it that way. And it might be that she doesn't have some sort of precognitive dream. It's something else. It's not something that she foresees. It's something that has been put into her mind, like Inception, by maybe the Dark One or someone else, to lure them to the Eye of the World, which is a nice way of taking another shortcut. Because we have 4, I guess, instances in the books where they learn about the Dark One's plots around the Eye of the World, and that he intends to blind the Eye of the World. And we still don't know what the Eye of the World is in the show, and most book readers didn't understand what the Eye of the World was, maybe until their 3rd reread. It was kind of weird to me once again when I listened to the audiobook, which was my 2nd read. And yeah, I'm not gonna explain what it is, so that everyone who listens to this or watches this review is not gonna be influenced by that information and potentially disappointed when we reach that, because that's all it is. Disappointment. If you translate disappointment to German, it means Enttäuschung. And it consists of 2 parts. Enttäuschung. Täuschung means kind of that you... it's kind of an illusion. So Enttäuschung is the end of illusion. if you can follow me. So it's a feeling that you're responsible for on your own, because you give yourself an illusion about what to expect, and then it gets shattered. And if you hadn't given yourself that illusion, you wouldn't have gotten disappointed. That's as easy as it can be put, I guess. I hope you can follow me. It's hard doing this in English. All right, so that's interesting. And they also kind of, well, you have to remember, this might be inconsistent with books that they say the dark one is at the eye of the world, because that sounds like the boar is at the eye of the world, which is not correct. The boar is at Shayogul. That's a totally different place. But you have to consider the possibility of, once again, an unreliable narrator. We have that in the books as well. So Swan says what she believes. She technically cannot lie, but she can say something that is not true as long as she believes it is true. And it has been shown to her in her dreams, and she tells Moraine what she has been dreaming and what she thinks needs to be done. And we know as book readers that the Dark One is not technically being held at the eye of the world. He's outside of the pattern at the boar, and the boar is located, not technically really located because it's not a physical location, but the point, the physical point where you can reach that boar, that point where the pattern is thinnest and where the Dark One is being held. It is not at the eye of the world. Man, I'm just so confused right now. I guess we will see. We have to wait and see. But I say hold your horses. Don't go all overboard and say, they've changed again. It makes no sense. All that stuff. I'd say wait and see. I have my reservations about the changes to the magic system, or to at least what they are supposed to know and what they were supposed to rediscover. But we will see. All in all, this was a great episode. I guess it was as good as the last one. I wouldn't say it was better. Maybe it was better because it gave us more plot advancement, so it was slightly better, but it was not that spectacle I was hoping for. So let's wait and see. Rafe Judkins' favorite episode was the finale, so let's hope for more action and more spectacle in the finale. And I'm also looking forward to the next episode when we enter the ways. That looked very promising. Again, totally different than what it was like in the books, but it looked interesting. It looked cool. So looking forward to that. Let me know what you thought about episode 6 of The Wheel of Time, and how you have enjoyed this show so far, and if you were able to enjoy it, or if you just cannot stand it. But please be fair. This is a project which shows so much love and compassionate energy put into it. So many great people are working on it. Don't shit all over it because you can, because you're anonymous on the internet. Please keep it civil, folks. Let's have a great discussion about the Wheel of Time, about the thing we love. Let's not get carried away, okay? Let's keep it civil and cool. I would like that. If you like this video, please leave a like and subscribe, and yeah, see you in another one. Prof out.